Cruise Missile.
Oh, Lord.
Would like to know what a typical ECW arena locker room was the night of the show. Who sat where? Who was doing what?
I mean, dude, you had, wow. I was always up in the corner by myself. Chances are I was snorting coke. Go figure. Sammy had to be walking around acting fucking goofy, and get everybody pointers on shit that they had nothing to do with him. Tad be trying to shake up all the green boys. And I mean, just everybody that had their own little crew. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jack the Carino hung out, and Just Incredible hung out with Jason Knight, and they all hung out. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, everybody just had their own little clique.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes me and Mustafa be up there talking, and sometimes we wouldn't. Or I'd be up there drinking or doing drugs or some shit, trying to prepare myself to go out there and dive to the fucking floor at 90 miles a fucking hour and smack the goddamn concrete. Just so you motherfuckers say, ECW. And I used to want to say, motherfucker, ECW didn't just dive off of that shit. That was me hit that goddamn floor.
Right.
So, typical night it was just always different shit.
Hybrid fan, courtesy of WrestlingClassics.com. How about asking what he thought about Paul Heyman? How Paul Heyman expanded ECW to lead the eventual demise of the company. How was Paul Heyman's leadership?
Dude, this shit is all about money. Leadership. You know what? It's almost like when you come out of the house. It's almost like you preparing yourself to go play a role. Paul Lee played a role. Everybody plays a role. Everybody's a fucking character. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. When his job was to come, his job is to come to work, and have this locker room full of fucking people that's willing to go out there and put the ass on the line, whatever. He booked the show. We did the show. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Did we do what he said do? I didn't. How was he as a leader? He didn't lead me. He paid me. Okay.
Fine. Very good.
There you go.
Mike Kinney, New Jack, since you work regularly for both Smoky Mountain Wrestling and ECW, can you compare the two booking styles of Jim Cornette and Paul Heyman? Which promoter do you enjoy working for the most?
I enjoy working for both of them. I work with Cornette. Cornette's very business-minded. Very business-minded. He has a touch of racist in him. Just a touch.
It's the South.
Like a little shot.
The South.
Like how the dude came out and said, fucking nigger! Cornette might be like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, just a little like splash. It's like my Long Island iced tea with a splash of peach schnapps. Just a little splish. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I mean, Cornette's business minded. You know what I'm saying? Paul Lee's business minded. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you got the East Coast of ECW, and then you got the down south hillbilly of Smoky Mountain. Mm-hmm. And the fans down there are like about 15 years behind in time. And they still believe in the good guy and the bad guy. Mm. The black guy is always the bad guy. Believe it or not. In Smoky Mountains. Mm. Okay? And it's like unless you just came out there with your lips painted white, talking about, mammy, I mean, you just was not, I don't give a fuck what the fuck you did. If you black in the South, you was always, they hated you. I don't give a fuck. So, I mean, it was like I said, I mean, both of these motherfuckers is business minded. And I mean, I give credit where it's due. Both of them is good with what they fucking did. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Cornette did his thing in Smoky Mountain. When it was time for it to end, it ended. Paulie did his shit with ECW. When it was time for it to end, it fucking ended. It was fucked up the way it ended, but I guess with him, I can't say what his whole motive was of doing whatever the fuck he did, but he's still alive. He's still out there doing whatever the fuck it is he want to do. And ECW now is like, to me, it's dead and gone. It's in the past. And he did what the fuck he wanted to do with the company. Now it's over with.
Perfect way to end the ECW chapter. All right, Smoky Mountain. We're going to talk a little Smoky Mountain. Jimmy James, the return of Jimmy James.
Who's that?
Yeah, the guy that asked the
New
last
Jack,
question.
what is up, man?
What?
When you and Mustafa started the Gangsters or as Jim Cornette may have said it, the Gangsters, in
No, he said Gangsters.
Mid-90s, 95, 96.
94.
Did you guys get any interest from WWE or WCW at that time, like before you went to ECW? And I know D'Lo Brown used to work with you guys. Were you surprised that he got signed to WWE? And what are your opinions on him and how his career went? Thank you.
Any interest from WWE or WCW?
We talked to WCW not from Smoky Mountain, but from ECW.
Okay.
And Paulie was like, Jack, if you go down there, they're going to try to fuck you. And they were interested in talking to us. They was like, they wanted to talk to us or whatever. He said, if you go, they're going to try to fuck you. And he said, they're trying to make the hardcore shit look like garbage. And it wasn't too long after that, they got Public Enemy. Right. And that part, I will admit, he was telling the truth. Because they made Public Enemy look like fucking cartoons after that. They had no credibility to do shit as far as convincing motherfuckers. Once they went out with the Nasty Boys and did fucking street fights with fucking blown up dolls and shit and sharks and rubber bats. Like
to ridicule the
the blow up rubber bats, like you know what I'm saying, like a fucking float, like a shark, and they was hitting each other and they was selling it, and they killed it. So they did talk to us at that time about that shit, and Paulie was like, Jack, honest to God, he said, I'm not saying this just for you to just not go. He said, but just think about what's going to happen. He said, right now, Eric Bischoff is mad at me, and he's trying to take all my top guys. He said, if you go, they going to fuck you. And I did think about it, because there was an offer, but I didn't go. And after I saw what they did to Public Enemy, I'm glad I didn't go, because they destroyed him.
Okay, he asked something about D'Lo. Let me read this other question first before we talk about D'Lo. Drew Murphy from Kansas City, Missouri asks, New Jack, is it true that D'Lo Brown mowed Jim Cornette's lawn in Smoky Mountain, and did anyone else do lawn care for him? I don't know if that's a racial angle that Cornette used to talk about or what, but...
Did D'Lo cut his grass? Yes. He did. Jim Cornette had a 45-degree angle in his freaking front yard. We went around there one day and saw D'Lo cutting the grass on tilt. And I was just like, I'm done. I said, you just set niggas back 400 years. I'm quit. I quit. Kill me. Shoot the fuck out of me. Boom. I fucking quit. He did it.
Okay.
I swear to God, he did it.
All right, Big Sexy is back.
Kayfabe Commentaries, New Jack, what's up? Big Sexy coming from representing the Beam once again. Want to give a shout out to my boys at Off the Mark. Here's my question. The Gangsters, one of the best teams that ever come out of ECW. Why do you feel that they never made it to WWE or WCW? I mean, the Dudleys made it, Public Enemy made it. Were you guys just too violent? What's the deal, man? Anyway, great job. Peace.
Thank you, Big Sexy. Bruh, people look at my character. I mean, when I had Paulie convinced that when we did a little angle with Jack Victory, and Paulie really thought, because I told Jack to hit me really, really hard with the guitar and shit. When I came back in the locker room, Paulie like ran between me and Jack, because he thought I was really, really mad.
Right.
So, if I can convince this motherfucker, then I know I can convince somebody else sitting at home.
Right.
So it was more like, if you bring him in, he ain't gonna do what you say do.
Right.
And I've been known. My mom used to always tell me I was rebellious as a kid. As I became a man, I'm still rebellious. So if you told me to do something, I'd do something totally opposite. Okay. When it came down to the business part of it, well, Paulie would tell me to do shit, I get pissed off because I knew it was like a fuck job coming. That's when I started diving. That was what I used to do when I was a kid. I used to dive off the house in front of my mom's car when she come home from work, and she got out the car and beat the shit out of me. So at one point, Paulie was mad at us, so he started making us do jobs every fucking week. So I said, fuck it. I said, I'm gonna do something that they ain't gonna even remember to finish.
Right.
I started diving. So the word kind of started getting around. Fuck. He gonna dive and they gonna do the job. What they gonna fucking remember? Who got pent or that fucking dive he just did? So now the word starts circulating. He ain't gonna do what you say do.
Right.
If you tell him to do this, he gonna do that. If you tell him to go left, he gonna turn right. If you tell him don't get color, he gonna try to cut the top of his fucking head off. And I would.
Right.
And to me it'd be funny. You gotta understand something, bro. When I came out of high school, I went straight to prison. And did almost 3 years in prison. I didn't get fucked in. So when I get in this business, I'm not gonna get fucked in this business. I didn't start wrestling until I was 30 years old, damn near. I'd be 47 my next birthday. Okay? So I came in this business as a grown fucking man.
Right.
I didn't come in like 2021, you know what I'm saying? Right. Ready to play the game, sit over in the corner, put on your Walkman. Oh God, I hope I get this. I don't give a fuck about that. I mean, I didn't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? So it's like everybody knew that. I went down to WWE. They gave me what they call 4 fingers up, a tryout, and fucking 04. And Malenko came up to me. He said, Jack, whatever you do not go up to Vince and speak to him. Unless he speaks to you. So I'm like, why? He said, you just don't do it. Now, I don't know if he was telling me not to do it to fuck with me, or if that's just the rule of the locker room. But he walked by, and I'm like, hey, how you doing, New Jack? I'm like, thanks for bringing me down, whatever the fuck. I hope I give you what you like. And I was done. And he looked at me like, okay. And I'm like, nice meeting you. I walked on down the hall, and I started laughing. About 15 minutes later, I went back and looked at the lineup sheet at the board with the write your name on it. Mine had been swiped off.
No way. That's ridiculous.
All right, they erased mine. Dude came over. He said, "Here's your pay for the night." He said, "You can go over there and sit down and watch the rest of the show if you want to." I said, "I don't want to see this shit." I said, "I ain't on it." I said, "I'm gonna go over at the bar." So I walked out of the back of the goddamn building. It was in Fort Lauderdale, and I went across the street to a fucking seafood restaurant and got me something to eat. And I was watching some shit what they had on TV at that fucking restaurant.
Wow.
And it was matter of fact, it was me and MVP. And he was trying to get a job at the time. So we walked. He said, "Jack, man, I can't play this fucking game." I said, "Well, you might can, but I ain't gonna play it." I said, "I'm going out here to this fucking bar." I'm like, "Fuck this shit." So then I walked back over there with him. He went back in there later on before the show was over with. I got in my car and went back to the hotel.
Wow.